Hi, welcome to Vicky Makes and Builds. Okay, today I am doing a speed puzzling practice video for you. So basically, in the last year or so, the phenomenon of speed puzzling has entered my life in a big way, and in a way that I never honestly thought it would. So, not only have I been privileged to be part of the awesome Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers group, but I'm also extremely privileged to be puzzling with some of them at the World Championships in Spain this year. Yes, I will be going there with Jeanette from Jeanette and Her Puzzles, Donnalouise from For the Love of Puzzles, and also Juby from Jigsaw Juby. I'll be pairing up with Jigsaw Juby for the pairs, and with the four of us will be a team for the teams element of the competition. And obviously I will be participating in the solos as well. So it's very exciting time. However, it's coming up thick and fast, and it's completely snuck up on me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there is hardly any time left. I really need to get speed puzzling. So I have been doing a lot of practice over the last, I don't know, maybe 8 months or so, 8 or 9 months, not just for the Worlds, but because a lot of it has actually been done before I even knew I was going to the Worlds. But the Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers, which we did the first one in January, I've been practicing for that as well. And this is the first video I've actually managed to bring out on my speed puzzling practice, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. It's definitely been happening. I'm just now only getting round to it. So I've actually got 13 puzzles that I want to share with you today, and 13 times, which is a lot, but it's a great number of puzzles, different types of 500-piece Ravensburger puzzles, and it's really helped me to see links between the methods I use and the times that I'm coming out with, and patterns in the way that I puzzle and things like that. So I think this is going to be a really handy video to help me analyse the way I'm doing with it and see where I can maybe improve in the run-up to the Worlds. But before I go through with you all of the puzzles and all of the times, here is a word from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Brilliant. You can sharpen your maths, data and computer science skills in just minutes a day with brilliant.org. For professionals, students and lifelong learners alike, Brilliant is the best way to learn. Me, I'm a busy person. Being a mum, a YouTuber, and having 2 jobs means that my life can get admittedly disorganised in spite of my best efforts. And it's easy to lose focus on things when there's so much going on, which probably hasn't helped my speed puzzling efforts either. So in order to try and hone my focus and get organised so I can not feel quite so pressured, I've been using brilliant.org to learn fun lessons about anything and everything that catches my interest. And there are a lot of lessons to choose from across a range of STEM subjects for all challenge levels, from beginner to advanced. This has also really helped me to narrow my focus onto one activity at a time without getting flustered by everything else that's going on. And that is a mindset I would really love to achieve in my speed puzzling as well. Brilliant makes this so simple. Not only are their lessons easy to digest with their well-paced, bite-sized and interactive games, but, and this is one thing I really love about it, they keep the thirst for learning going by giving you achievable goals to meet, and you get friendly reminders to keep progressing and learning. For me personally, the fact that you can see results by meeting your achievements as you go through and complete the lessons, which really are more like games, it makes it fun and enjoyable, and it really gives me a sense that my knowledge is growing and improving. So, are you ready to discover what Brilliant has to offer? You can try Brilliant for free for 30 days at brilliant.org/Vicky, and the first 200 people to sign up will receive 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. And you'll find a link to that in my description right down below. So now let's see if I can improve on my speed puzzling times. So here are all of the puzzles that I will be mentioning today. First up, we have the London Postcard. Then we have Lighthouse at Sunset. We've then got Our British Birds. Then we have Floral Reflections. We've got Cute Dogs in the Garden, which is the one that we did for the very first battle of the YouTube puzzlers. We've got Our Loyal Friends, Garden Visitors, Kitten in a Cup, the New York Postcard, a Circle of Colours puzzle called Donuts, Polygon Lion, 80s Disco, and The Factory Worker. And here is a list of my times. Now, the order in which I'm giving these times is chronological. It is not which time matches the order of the puzzles that I've just listed. I thought we could have just a little bit of fun with this, but rather than trying to match up every single time, which could take a while, maybe you can have a guess and see if you can figure out which puzzle was my fastest time and which puzzle was my slowest time. Now, my fastest time was 1 hour, 3 minutes and 26 seconds, and the slowest time was 1 hour, 45 minutes, 16 seconds. So if you want to have a wee comment on that just now and see if you can predict which one is the fastest and which one the slowest. Okay, so now getting started with the first ever speed run that I did. Now, I'm not going to show any footage on this one because I actually did a whole video on this puzzle. It was the first ever speed run I did on one of the puzzles from last year's World Championship competition. It is the London Postcard, which I have here. My time on that one was 1 hour and 3 minutes and 26 seconds. So that answers the first question as to which is the fastest puzzle out of all of the ones I've mentioned. Yes, the first speed puzzle that I ran, the London Postcard, remains my fastest speed run to date. Go figure, all that practice and the fastest time is still that one. So yes, I have not managed to break the 1 hour mark as yet. It remains elusive to me, and I really hope I can manage to break that before I get to the Worlds. But it was close. 1 hour and 3 minutes is pretty good, pretty close to breaking the hour mark. But in terms of last year's competition, the best time on this one was 32 minutes and 46 seconds, which is just mind-blowing. And if I had done this in last year's competition, I would have ranked 39th place in that particular round. So not too bad for a newbie, I think. So now fast forward a few months and we start to prepare for the very first battle of the YouTube puzzlers. Now, when this first came about and we were planning it, I realised I was going to have to do some more practicing. So I decided to buy some more puzzles in order to do just that. And I bought this one, Lighthouse at Sunset. I bought this one called Our British Birds. And I also bought this one, which is called Floral Reflections. Unfortunately, I don't seem to have any footage for the Floral Reflections, but I can tell you my time and I can show you completed pictures of it. But for now, here are Lighthouse at Sunset and Our British Birds. Right, Lighthouse at Sunset, I just did not go in there with a strategy, really. I just kind of grabbed the pieces and started putting them together, and I never really did any sorting. I never even kind of turned the pieces all up the same way, and it was all just a little bit chaotic, and I think that reflected in the time on that one. I did a full sort on Our British Birds. I had had some success with that with London Postcard, so I went with it again, and I thought that was a pretty decent time on that puzzle. It was also kind of a collage puzzle, so I think it lent itself to sorting a little more as well, so I think that maybe helped too. And Floral Reflections was very much the same kettle of fish. It was a gradient, it was blocks of colour, very, very sortable. I sorted every colour section and I put it together. It wasn't as easy as some gradients that I've done. With the flowers, you had a lot of kind of dark, shadowy pieces in between the flowers, so you might not always necessarily know which section the piece went into, but by and large, I managed this one in a really good time. I did that one in 1 hour, 9 minutes and 27 seconds. So very, very pleased. I feel like I'm improving with these puzzles and it was going really well. Now at this point, I was not the only one doing my speed puzzling practice. The Floral Reflections puzzle was also built by Judy at the same time as I built it. So we did a little mini competition against each other. Judy managed Floral Reflections in 1 hour, 19 minutes, 18 seconds. I don't think that Donnalouise from For the Love of Puzzles did this one at that time, but she has since done this one. I believe hers was a second-hand copy and there was a piece missing, so she added 10 seconds onto her final time, but she managed this one in 1 hour and 18 minutes. Now Floral Reflections was also one of last year's championship puzzles, so the fastest time was 32 minutes and 41 seconds. That was Alejandro, who was just lightning on that puzzle. Another mind-blowing speed puzzle run. I just honestly, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it that fast. But anyway, that was his time. I would have placed 26th with my time on this puzzle. So I'm quite happy with that and it's all going really well so far. Which leads me to the 5th puzzle in today's video, and that is of course Cute Dogs in the Garden, which I've got here. Now this was the puzzle that we did for the very first battle of the YouTube puzzlers, and I have to say, doing these speed runs against each other and doing the Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers has been really, really great for just putting myself in that kind of competitive mindset, which I'm going to be in when I'm at the Worlds in September. But it's so much fun as well. The Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers has just been such a privilege to be a part of. My time on this one, just as a reminder, was 1 hour and 19 minutes and 44 seconds. So again, not too bad a time. I sorted on this one as well, and I think that was the right method for me. But what I found with this one was that I was going great right up until I reached the larger, more difficult sections towards the end, and that was the fence and the bike. And then I started to become flustered, pressured. I really wanted to do it in a good time. And I was pleased with the time, but you know, the pressure kicked in and I could feel I was slowing down and I start to get frustrated, which is probably not the best mindset to have when you speed puzzling. So yes, I definitely can take some lessons from doing this puzzle as well. Okay, so it was after the first Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers that events really started to come together and things were happening that I wasn't expecting, but I'd kind of got the bug a bit for speed puzzling after that, and so I had started to think about the World Championships, which I knew were in September, and I was thinking I would really love to go, but I was humming and hawing because it doesn't fall during school holiday time. I have 2 school-age children. I've also got a couple of jobs and I knew it wasn't impossible, but it was gonna be a tricky thing to try and juggle. So that was in my mind and it was kind of starting to fade right up until Donnalouise and Jeanette revealed that they were going to the Worlds in September, and they were asking if any of the rest of us, Judy, Juby and I, were free to go and maybe join them to make a team. And so I got back and I said, well, actually I had been considering this and I really would love to, so if I can, I will try. And I was able to figure out a way to do it. So that was me. And then it transpired that Juby as well was actually going to be taking a trip to Europe at that time. So she will now be joining us as well. So it's been such a unique opportunity that arose for us all to go and meet each other, to puzzle together, to go to the Worlds and just kind of meet one of my ambitions, to be honest. I said in my Q&A video that I did a few months ago that, you know, one of my ambitions would be to try speed puzzling, and if I could get to Spain at any point, that would be amazing. And we're actually doing it, so I'm so excited. So now it was on, and I really needed to start doing some speed puzzling. We're not only that, we also had another battle coming up, the Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers 2, which we just had in June. So there was lots and lots of practice to be done. So I bought more puzzles. And I set to building them. So my next set of puzzles that I'm going to show you some time-lapse footage for are Our Loyal Friends, which is this one here. We've also got Garden Visitors. We've got the New York Postcard. We've got Kitten in a Cup. And we've got this one, which is called Polygon Lion. With Our Loyal Friends, I sorted this puzzle. I had noticed by this point already that sorting was a method that worked well for me, but in particular with this kind of image where there's a fair amount of stuff, you've got like a scene really in front of you, and it reminded me a lot of Cute Dogs in the Garden in that respect, and there's also dogs in it, so we're dealing with animal fur, and I just kind of felt like there was enough going on to be able to sort it, and that was going to be the best way of doing it for me. I do hold to that. However, I had a similar issue with this one as I did with Cute Dogs in the Garden, and that is that I seemed to go great up until I reached the point where I had large sections, larger piles of pieces to deal with, whether it be the red wall in the background or the black Labradors, and I slowed down and I started to get that flustered way. And actually my time on this was very similar to Cute Dogs in the Garden. This puzzle took me 1 hour, 18 minutes and 28 seconds. So we are talking a minute and a bit difference between Cute Dogs and Our Loyal Friends. Now, incidentally, Our Loyal Friends was another of last year's championship puzzles. The fastest time on this one was 37 minutes and 41 seconds. My time on this one would have placed me in 37th place. So again, not bad, you know, if that is what happens this year, I would be so chuffed with that. But again, I really wanted to really try and start improving my time on these and overcoming this problem I seemed to be having where I reached a point and I would get all flustered with it. So that's Our Loyal Friends. Now then, Garden Visitors. This one has the same kind of artwork as Our British Birds. It's like a watercolour collage of different animals. Our British Birds is obviously just birds, but the artist is the same. It's Matt Sewell. So I actually, having had a good time on Our British Birds, I actually felt quite good going into this one and thought it would be really good. Yeah, I was disappointed. I went with the full flip on this puzzle. I dumped the pieces and I turned over every piece. Not only that, but this is the only puzzle that I actually filmed from 2 angles. And the reason that I did that is because I wanted to try and channel a little bit of Alejandro, who stands over his puzzles when he's speed puzzling. He's quite close up to the pieces, he's sort of directly above them, and he stands up. I know a few people stand up when they're speed puzzling as well, and I was thinking maybe this is something that really maybe helps get you into the mindset, gives you more of a sense of urgency with it perhaps, than as opposed to just kind of sitting down. And also, you know, if you're directly above your pieces, you can maybe see them a bit better. So this was what I attempted with this one, but it wasn't a method that worked for me particularly well. In fact, all it really did was give me quite an aching back quite quickly. So I sat down fairly quickly in the proceedings. But not only that, I think the full flip was just, again, too chaotic a method for me. It reminded me of back when I did the Lighthouse at sunset. No real strategy, just pieces everywhere, and I just kind of felt like I was getting in my own way, and this was, again, very, very close to not being a qualifying time. I managed to do this one in 1 hour, 29 minutes and 54 seconds. I was just 6 seconds shy of not actually qualifying for this puzzle, so I resolved never to do that method again. Or at the very least, never to try standing up over the puzzle when I was doing it, because it really did my back in. Now, Donnalouise has done, she's done several videos where she's done speed puzzle practice, but she has actually done Garden Visitors as well. And she did this puzzle in 1 hour, 15 minutes and 4 seconds. So she did way better than me. So that was good. This is probably one I will repeat. In fact, there are a few I will repeat out of this collection. I haven't so far, but this is probably one that I will. It'd be good to repeat the ones where I've had the worst times and maybe change up my method, particularly on this one and Lighthouse at Sunset, because I didn't use the sorting method on those, and I'm thinking maybe using sorting would really, really improve the time. Not just because I'm doing it for a second time, but because it's a completely different method to what I actually did use. And it's been a while since I've actually done these puzzles as well, so much as I believe a second build will give me a better time anyway, I don't feel like I've done these recently enough for it to make a humongous difference, but we'll see what happens. Right, next one, Kitten in a Cup. Now, this one was quite frustrating to me. I decided again not to sort this puzzle. Again, I'm not really sure what my thinking was here. I did more of a build as I sort, which really was my plan, I think, going into there. I think that was what I was after. I was looking to see what a build as I sort method would give me, like what kind of time it would give me. But the problem was I kind of changed my attack halfway through, and I ended up just stopping sorting. And again, there were pieces everywhere, and I was right back into the chaos. And it just didn't do me very well at all, really, trying to do it that way. So wasn't too bad a time. I did it in 1 hour, 21 minutes and 11 seconds. And I actually did this as a direct kind of race against Judy from Addicted to Puzzles. She managed this one in 1 hour, 19 minutes and 4 seconds. And again, in one of Donnalouise's speed puzzling videos since then, she did this one as well, and she managed it in 1 hour, 11 minutes and 4 seconds. So that was good. That was another mini competition that Judy and I had, and it really does help doing those, because it helps me kind of see what methods are working well for me and how I'm comparing with other people and the methods that they choose as well. And it's a good way to kind of learn different ways of doing it and see what works for me personally. Right, the next one, New York Postcard. This was the closest thing I could think of to doing in order to repeat a puzzle, but also not repeat a puzzle. That's going to sound a bit odd, I know. So the New York Postcard is very, very similar to the London Postcard. It's the same idea, same kind of theme. And though they're not the same puzzles, I just kind of felt like it would be a good one to do in order to try and compare more directly different methods on very, very similar puzzles. So now I did use a similar method between this one and London Postcard. I think the only slight difference with this one is one I dumped out and one I sorted out of the box, and one of them I did the edge first. So there were slight differences. However, this one is my second best time. I did this one in 1 hour, 6 minutes and 32 seconds. And it's another one that I actually speed ran against Judy. She managed this one. Now her London Postcard was like 1 hour and 1 minute. So she beat me by like 2 minutes on that one. With this one, she did it in 1 hour and 2 minutes and 12 seconds. So these puzzles are obviously just really good puzzles to speed run. They're really good images to speed run. I would love to repeat these ones as well and really see if I can break that hour mark. Maybe try some different things, add perhaps to my sorting method, which seems so far to be the best times that I get when I do it. But yeah, I got a really good time on this one and I was pleased. And I think also I kind of wanted to re-motivate myself by this point, because I was starting to get a bit deflated with some of my longer times. You know, the fact that I was close to not qualifying on the garden visitors one and that kind of thing. So I thought, right, I need to do one that I know I'm going to probably be quick at and regain my confidence in my speed puzzling skills. So that was a good one, and it's a lovely puzzle too. I really enjoyed that one. So knowing that sorting was looking like the best method for me with speed puzzling, I decided to take sorting to the next level on this next puzzle. So the next puzzle I'm going to talk about is this one here. This one is called Polygon Lion. I knew this was going to be a difficult puzzle, and I also knew that it wasn't going to be easily sortable. There wouldn't be many piles I'd be able to sort into. It's very dark in a lot of areas. There's a lot of the same colours going on across the puzzle. You've got the eyes and the mouth, you know, which are kind of more bold colours, but I thought, right, if sorting's going to be good for me, maybe I can take it to the next level with Polygon Lion. And I approached this puzzle by shape sorting from the very beginning. I sorted every single piece by shape before I even started putting any of it together. So there were pros and cons to this. First of all, I should tell you that this puzzle was my worst time. So now we know the answer to that one. I did this one in 1 hour, 45 minutes and 16 seconds. But I did learn something from this puzzle. So as much as I was disappointed with that, I did learn a lot from using the method on this puzzle. What I found was that sorting to that level at the start, it was impractical. I did not have enough space to lay out 500 pieces. You don't get an entire humongous table to yourself to puzzle in when you're at these competitions. I'm trying to keep my puzzling space relatively small, and that many pieces shape sorted, laid out, it just was too many. In fact, some of the shapes there were a lot of pieces and I was having to stack them on top of each other, which really defeats the purpose. You can't look at them at a glance. And so I found that this was useful at the end of the puzzle when I was right down to these black bits, and it was handy just to be able to spot the piece shape and put it in. That was great when I had enough space and I could see them and I could spread them out. At the start, it was too much. There were just too many pieces. I couldn't spread them out. I was in my own way again and I was back into the chaos. So I have taken something from this puzzle, much as I was frustrated with how long it took me. And I do think that this is a really difficult puzzle to speedrun. I've got to be honest. So I'm not going to beat myself up too much over that one. Now, again, Judy did that one with me, and she did that puzzle in 1 hour and 22 minutes. In fact, she has done a video on a lot of her speedruns, and many of them ones she speedran against me. So I'm going to link her video in the description below. And I'll also link Donnalouise's speedrun videos as well, because she's done a lot of the same puzzles as me as well. So I will link those below. Okay, so the last 3 puzzles I have to show you are the Circle of Colours puzzle, Donuts. Now this is a circular puzzle, but I will explain my reasoning behind that after I've shown you the time-lapse footage. I also did this puzzle here, which is called 80s Disco. Now this puzzle was actually gifted to me from a company called Jigsaw Puzzle Universe. They actually have a digital puzzling app, which is really good, by the way, but they also print some of their puzzles, and they sent me this puzzle that was printed from one of their designs, and it's 500 pieces. And at the time they were having all their puzzles made by Ravensburger. So I thought, well, I'm not going to pass up an opportunity to speedrun when a 500 piece Ravensburger kind of lands in my lap. So I speedran it and it was really good. I'll go into my time once I've shown you the time-lapse footage on this, but that's that one. And lastly, I did this puzzle here, which is called The Factory Worker. I managed to get this from a charity shop. I wasn't finding many 500 piece Ravensburgers in the charity shops at the time, but I found this one. Not really my kind of image, but as I say, you never really know what kind of puzzle you're going to get, what kind of image you're going to get at the World. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go and see what happens. And actually, it was in really good condition for a charity shop puzzle. It had been put in a resealable bag, it had been labelled and everything, and whoever had it prior to me had obviously really looked after it. So I was really, really pleased when I speed ran this at the quality of it. There were no pieces missing either, so that is a bonus too. Okay, so with the Circle of Colours, my reasoning behind doing that one was because I was doing a shaped puzzle for the Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers 2. We did the heart-shaped Gallison puzzle, Flora Heart, and I wanted to practice on a shaped puzzle. So I thought, well, why not try one of the Circle of Colours, which is also a 500 piece Ravensburger puzzle. And I don't know if they'll maybe do a round puzzle at the Worlds one day. I really don't. They might not. But, you know, it couldn't hurt to give it a go. So I did that principally in practice for the Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers too. However, Unfortunately, at one point I had to pause the timer, and when I came back to do it again, I forgot to restart the timer. So my time on this one is not accurate, I'm afraid. I worked it out from the time-lapse footage as being roughly around an hour and 25 minutes, but I can't read too much into that because I don't know how accurate that is. I do know that it's a gradient puzzle. The circle of colours do tend to be gradient puzzles, but it was harder than your average gradient because there were lots of sprinkles and details and colours on top of the main colour of each donut. And so it did make it sometimes quite difficult to know where the pieces went in the gradient. So, you know, it wasn't an easy puzzle, but it was really good fun. But I just wanted to give that a wee mention. The 80s disco puzzle, I really enjoyed this. I didn't bother sorting this one. I kind of wanted to just keep trying other methods and see if maybe some images perhaps lend themselves a little more to some methods. I did what I'm going to call a grab and build kind of scenario with this puzzle. I just dumped out the pieces, grabbed them and started putting them together. So quite similar to Lighthouse at Sunset, really. But I found this one went quicker, and I did this one in an hour and 19 minutes and 17 seconds. So not too bad. Maybe could have been faster if I'd have sorted it, and perhaps this is another one that I'll repeat and see how I do with the sorting method. But I really did enjoy this puzzle. It was really, really good fun. But that's what my time was on this one. And lastly, this one. Now, I went into this one fully knowing I was going to sort it, but I also thought what I would try and do with this one is, if I came across the same scenario as Our Loyal Friends and Cute Dogs in the Garden, where I'd put together the obvious sections after sorting, where it was coming together really quickly, and then I hit up against this problem where there's bigger sections, bigger piles, I'm maybe getting a wee bit tireder by this point, and I'm starting to slow down. If I hit up against that, I told myself that I would start to shape sort and try and get the pieces in as quickly as I could. That was my plan. And I actually went into this feeling really good, thinking I might actually beat the hour mark on this puzzle. So I didn't. I did this puzzle in 1 hour, 20 minutes and 19 seconds. I was disappointed in that, but I think that's because, not that because I think it's a bad time, more because I had an expectation going into it that was perhaps a little unrealistic. And not only that, I sort of let myself down because I had full intentions of sorting, building, shape sorting, but I chickened out. I chickened out with the shape sorting. I got to the point where I was starting to get flustered. I could feel it coming on, and I thought, right, now's the time to shape sort. But I just felt like there were too many pieces left. It was going to take too long to shape sort. It was going to slow me down. And I just carried on just bumbling my way through it, and then eventually I did shape sort and the pieces started going in, and I was like, why did I just not do this from the start? And actually I've noticed that's something that Jeanette does. From watching her Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers video, I've seen that she'll do a little bit of shape sorting towards the end of her puzzles, and it must work for her because she was getting some fabulous times in those battles. So with this one, I really just think I needed to stick to my guns. I needed to just pick a strategy and stick with it. And I did that thing I did where I just changed my mind partway through. And I chickened out. That's what it boils down to. So again, lesson learned with this one. But I enjoyed this one actually more than I thought I would. But yeah, I got frustrated with myself towards the end of this one, and I really wished I'd have stuck to my original plan. But anyway, that was the last puzzle that I had to show you in this batch of speed runs that I have done. It's a lot of puzzles, a lot of times, but I really do think that there's a lot I can take from all of this practice. Just to give you an idea of the rankings of these puzzles in order from fastest to slowest, here is a list of the puzzles and what my times were. And I've also written the methods of puzzling that I used for each one as well. I already can tell that there is a pattern to the way that I've been puzzling and links between that and my times. It is clear that sorting is a method for me that works. It gives me the quicker times. However, in some instances, like for example with the London postcard and the New York postcard, where I've used very similar methods or the same method but with minor differences, I still haven't managed to significantly improve on those times. And what I really need to do now is just try and think of a way to get faster. Now, I do still have to try one where I actually use the method I was supposed to on the factory worker, where towards the end, before I start to get flustered, I can shape sort and get the pieces in and just be really methodical about it. So I do still have to try that. I also think that there are some puzzles that just lend themselves to sorting more than others. So if I happen to be given a gradient puzzle or a collage puzzle in the World Championships, I will definitely sort, but it's possible I would sort anyway, even if it's one of the, like a scenery kind of puzzle, like Our Loyal Friends or Cute Dogs in the Garden, or the factory worker. I will probably sort that as well. I just feel like, for me personally, flipping all the pieces over and having them everywhere, or building as I sort, unless I'm doing it straight from the box, I just find that like I get in my own way, that there just ends up being too many pieces everywhere, and I'm spending most of my time moving them out of the way to try and put them together, you know, and give myself space. So I think creating as little chaos as possible for me is the best way to go. And I think another thing that I need to do, or rather avoid doing, is go into this with expectations. Now, I'm not gonna know what the puzzle is on the day, so I'm not really gonna have time to form any kind of expectation. But one thing I have found with these puzzles is that when I've done them thinking I'm gonna do great on this, or thinking this is gonna be terrible, one of two things happens. Either it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, like with Polygon Lion, where I just think this is going to be hard, and then it just ends up being hard, or I have too high an expectation, like with the factory worker, and I end up feeling frustrated when I'm getting into it and I'm slowing down and I can see I'm not going to achieve the goal I wanted to achieve. And that adds to the pressure in my head. It's very much a psychological mindset, speed puzzling. It really is. There's a lot going on in your head. It's not just the physical act of doing it fast. It's the way your mind's working, the way you're thinking, the behaviour that manifests as a result, getting flustered, getting frustrated, getting annoyed, you know, all those kind of negative feelings that come out of that. I've got this expectation and it's not being met and I'm getting annoyed now. Like, I really do think I need to try and just avoid thinking of any kind of like, well, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be hard. It's going to be easy. I'm going to do brill. I'm going to do terrible. And it's difficult to consciously not think these things, but I just don't think that it helps me going into it with expectations like that. So I'm going to try moving forward to not do that anymore, and hopefully that will help me on more of a kind of psychological level when I'm doing this. And the last thing I really think I need to do is just remember to have fun. I think putting too much pressure on yourself can really kind of suck the fun out of it sometimes, and I think doing these little mini races against each other, like Judy and I have been doing, and doing the Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers and things like that, although there won't be another one before the Worlds. I think, you know, having done that one in June, it's been really good for just keeping the fun of speed puzzling alive and just not feeling too bogged down by the pressure of it all, really. So I really just want to make sure I keep having fun with it as well. But, you know, I've got a lot more to do. I'm really looking forward to doing more speed puzzles. I have just recently bought a batch more 500-piece Ravensburger puzzles, which I'm not going to reveal in this video. I have a puzzle haul video planned for that, so I'll be introducing those in that. However, if you really, really want to know what they are sooner than that, I have actually released a members and patrons only video showing those new puzzles that I've just recently acquired for doing some practice speed puzzling. And actually on one of those, I will be filming it in real time, me speed running the puzzle, and I'll be putting that video up as a members only bonus video for August on the YouTube memberships and also on Patreon. So if you really would like to see what those puzzles are earlier, then there will be links in the description which you can click if you decide you want to join either as a member or as a patron. If you don't mind waiting a little bit, then please do just wait until the puzzle haul. I will be speedrunning them all anyway, probably do a video very similar to this where I show you all my speedruns and times. For anyone who is here with me who hasn't subscribed to my channel yet, if you've really enjoyed this video and you're looking forward to seeing more speed puzzling, there will be a lot more where this came from, so please do subscribe if you haven't yet. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and above all, please leave your comments. Give me your thoughts on how I've been tackling these speed runs. Tell me if you do speed runs, how you go about it, what the methods are that seem to work best for you. Give me advice if you think that there's something I could be doing better or that I'm maybe doing that is slowing me down. Let me know. Let's get a conversation going about it in those comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to say thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.